If I see another farmer on TV crying and whining about their situation, I'm going to go insane. Let's get into it. So I'm kind of piggybacking off a video I saw yesterday, the day before, from Middle Aged Rider. Go follow him if you're not doing it already. He's got good content. But I am just so sick of seeing farmers crying and whining because they can't sell their soybeans or whatever crop they've got. I'm going to remind you what these same fucking farmers were saying back in 2019 when the same bullshit was happening, and they still showed up to vote for this.
I saw some of these TikToks, and they said that on Twitter, farmers were saying that they thought after workers were deported that black people would come to work on their farms. So I want to talk about this article really quick because it's all starting to make so much sense right now. This author and journalist was having lunch with friends. There was a white guy and he's married to a black lady, and they were talking politics. And he says that farmers weren't worried about Trump deporting migrants because, wait for it, they thought because unemployment was so high for black people that these black people would run back to the fields and do the jobs that the migrants were doing when they got deported. So she asked, where'd you get that information from? White farmer TikTok or MAGA Facebook memes? Where'd you get this information from? And her and the wife basically started giving him information, letting him know unemployment is only 6.8% for African Americans, and 93% of black people are currently working.
Hello good people, guys, welcome back again to my channel, and of course if you're watching for the first time, please subscribe. Now, WhYte Texas farmers are very much angry and in panic mode because their workers can no longer show up in their farms anymore, and they are now desperately begging for the black Americans to come work their farms because they thought that this is what is going to happen after the immigrants left. Trump is going to force the black Americans to go work the white farms. But black Americans have said they are very busy. If that's what they expected to happen, then they were wrong, because black Americans can no longer work the white farms anymore. Those are the days of slavery and unpaid labor, forced labor, and that's a bygone, and it can no longer happen again. So I want us to watch some clips here, then we come back and have a chat as to why these workers stopped showing up in the white farms and how much damage it has caused the white American farmers in Texas. And of course, if you're watching for the first time, please subscribe. I'll repeat that, subscribe, and leave me a comment in the comment section. Let's dive straight.
So I want to talk about this article really quick because it's all starting to make so much sense right now. This author and journalist was having lunch with friends. There was a white guy and he's married to a black lady, and they were talking politics. And he says that farmers weren't worried about Trump deporting migrants because, wait for it, they thought because unemployment was so high for black people that these black people would run back to the fields and do the jobs that the migrants were doing when they got deported. So she asked, where'd you get that information from? White farmer TikTok or MAGA Facebook memes? Where'd you get this information from? And her and the wife basically started giving him information, letting him know unemployment is only 6.8% for African Americans, and 93% of black people are currently working. Got so caught up in what they were hearing at Fox News and other places, thinking black jobs, immigrants are taking black jobs, that they just assumed they'd get rid of the immigrants and black people would take the immigrants' jobs. Sir, our ancestors did not march, die, and fight for civil rights so we could go back to the fields? What? But shout out to the Latino immigrant population that have mastered that labor with skill and stamina. This country doesn't even appreciate it enough. Oh, and by the way, when they do try to hire Americans, black or white, to do those jobs, most of them don't even last half a day. They just ghost them without even picking up their paychecks. True story. So y'all, tell me, Do you really believe that they thought black people were planning to replace immigrants in that labor force if they got deported? Because I need to know who was smoking that logic. What do you think?
Hold on, so let me get this straight. The white farmers in Louisianans, they're mad because people of color won't come work on their farms for $11 an hour in 100-degree heat for 10 plus hours a day. Let me run that back. White farmers are mad. The very farmers that voted Republican, okay, they voted for this, are mad that people of color won't come work on their farms for $11 an hour in 100-degree heat for 10 plus hours a day. I'm saying you get what you ask for. Hey, it's FAFO type shit, okay? But hey, don't be fooled. I feel like it's gonna come to a point where they're finna make people get on their farms. Don't count me to it. Because if 2025 was a checklist, hey.
I don't know anybody who makes $35,000 like on paper who lives at $35,000. Like, they still get their hair done, get their nails done, get everything done because, and you like, how you getting that done? They talk about it, people like, oh, she goes to get EBT, but she got her nails done and she do the, because you know that my man down the street, he flips cars and he gonna let me drive this one as long as I watch his son. Do you know that my girl, she does my hair for free as long as I, hook her up every now and then and come through with the fish plates? Like, we've been on that. We got a whole circuit of people. That's how we move. That's how we live. I wouldn't go by that. That's why these farmers is messed up, because they thought they was going to get the Latinos out of the country and then black people was going to take over.
Until you do right by me, everything you think about is going to fail. Remember that? In 1910, 1 in 7 farmers were black. Since then, black people have had 90% of their farmland stripped from them. Let me tell you how. Carlton Sanders was a chicken grower from Forest, Mississippi, and he had contracts with Koch Industries. You know, the Koch, you know who they are, Tyson Foods, who have these contracts with farmers, chicken growers, etc. And they use these contracts to control farmers, control their income, control their operations. Now, Carlton was the only black chicken grower out of 173 chicken growers for Koch. He started with about $750,000 in debt and worked year after year after year to pay it down. And he had about $50,000 left before he could pay everything off for his farm. And guess what happened? Coach slapped him with some upgrades that were required to his farm. The cost was going to be about $318,000, and that was going to put him back in total about $500,000 in debt. I work all my life. But here's the thing. They slapped him with $318,000 of required changes to his farm, but didn't require any changes to the white farmers. None of the 172 white farmers, just the one black farmer. So he filed a complaint with the USDA. That didn't work, and the retaliation began. So he's scrambling, trying to put this money together. And at first he had the bank with him, willing to loan him the money. The bank was on his side. But you know how it works. Probably phone call from Coke to the bank, and next thing you know, the bank pulls and reneges out the deal, and foreclosure proceedings start. So they were able to get the money together to save the farm from foreclosure, and the bank wouldn't take it. They wanted him out. So they closed on him in 2018. And Sanders found out who the buyers were going to be and offered them a price above what they would buy the farm for. So he offered a buyer $150,000. Offer not accepted. They sold the farm for $110,000. Pick yourself up by the bootstraps, they say. Stop asking for handouts. So he loses his farm. It's a beautiful farm. This story was being told on Something Black Made, and then Now This picked it up. And there may be a video out there that you can watch. It's really sad. So a couple of senators tried to help, Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, and they tried to get a meeting with Trump and to move forward with a bill and also to try to get some relief. And Trump wouldn't even meet with him. He said, there's no problem here. If there was a problem, I would know about it. So he refused to meet. As I understand it, Carlton Sanders has a lawsuit pending against the Coke industry, whatever they call themselves. And I hope he wins, but it's Trump America right now. So the court system may or may not be able to help him. It's for discrimination and mistreatment. I told you that story because we've now got a serious problem going on in the heartland of America. Our farmers are crying and asking for help. They're losing their farms or at risk of losing their farms left and right. A lot of them lost their farms in the first Trump administration while getting subsidies and help in the Biden administration. But apparently something was going to be better this time around. We're winning, right? Yeah, we're going to deport all the migrants who work the farms. We're going to impose tariffs and start a trade war back with China, who is the lowest of the petty ones, right? So I want to be clear that China canceled all contracts for soybeans. They are buying 0 soybeans from the United States this year. They went and made 20-year contracts with Brazil for soybeans. And then Trump got rid of the subsidies and the agency that was, I don't know what happened to my phone there, but the agency that was exporting food to countries, third world countries, our grains and stuff, that agency got canceled and that aid got canceled. And so there's no exporting. All that went to the big, beautiful bill. A perfect trifecta. And so now we got Arkansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, Iowa saying the states might go bankrupt because they're missing all the tax revenue from all the exports and contracts that they would have had. Nebraska would have had a $2 billion contract with China for soybeans, and that would have generated $50 million in state taxes. Their migrants are gone. They didn't work this summer, so they didn't pay taxes either. So they're looking for handouts. Just pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Stop asking for handouts. It's a welfare state. How does that feel? I know that this video appears to gloat about the predicament that those people find themselves in. And maybe so. The treachery that has been done to us, what goes around comes around. Racism is expensive. We voted for all of us, and you voted against us. So you having the day you deserve.
Some of these farmers complaining about the tariffs are the biggest Nepo baby losers I have ever seen in this country. Forget a celebrity actor child, right? You're talking about these farmers who are second, third generation farmers who got the farm from their parents or their grandparents, who once they get the farm, they vote against their own interests and then want the government to bail them out, which totally tracks, right? Because they were just given their farm. They're used to being handed stuff to them. So they expect the bailouts. They didn't think that their actions would have consequences because they haven't had to deal with those before. Now, I'm not saying that farmers don't work hard and that they aren't needed. They are. But let's call a spade a spade.
Black farmers. Imagine how healthy we would be if we had more black farmers, or let's pretend we have only black farmers, right? I'm talking about the way that the Midwest is going to fall apart without federal funding, specifically all of these farmers, right? But one group that's going to do well is black farmers because they never got all of these handouts. And so I am not opposed to a strategy where we do let some of these rural Midwestern towns kind of fall apart on their own doing and take that as a redistricting opportunity. But think about this. Native Americans, how much healthier would our planet be and our land be if Native Americans had more farmland, which will be one of the groups that have the cash to do so. So I don't know, it's a silver lining I'm trying to think of. I was just trying to think if I've ever known a major farm or plant to have a food recall that was black owned, and if there is, I certainly can't think of it.
This is for the farmers from Nebraska and Texas. I don't know why you're mad. You're very angry right now. It's your fault. You're the ones who got rid of your farm workers. You allowed ICE to get them all, arrest them all. And now you got nobody to work in your land. And you thought because Trump said that Mexicans are robbing, stealing black people jobs, and you thought by getting rid of your workers, Hispanic workers, you thought that black people were going to come and work for you on your land? You're wrong. They're not coming to work in your land because the black people are educated. They are lawyers. They are judges. They're teachers. They're dentists. They're doctors. They're nurses, actors, business owners. They're not going to work in your land. So, and now I'm hearing that you are burning black people's farms. That's not okay either. That's pure evil. That's evil. Just because the black people that has farms, they don't depend on the government. You guys do. You depend on the government to work, to give you money for your land, for your farming. And the black people, they don't depend on the government. It's not okay to go and burn their land. Karma's gonna get you worse. You're already screwed. You're losing your lands, your farming. And now you doing this to another farmers, black people farmers, you're gonna get it worse. That's envy. That's bad. And another thing, you're not gonna have no black people working in your land. You can forget about that. Because this is 2025, not 1700.
I was watching this video the other day of this white guy who said that he wanted to create a whites only community where only whites are allowed, no other races and shit like that. And I was really upset at black people because I started seeing all these think pieces about how they were upset about it and how it wasn't gonna last. And I be wanting to ask black people a lot, what is it about white people that makes y'all want to be so close to them? I don't get it. When white people say, hey, this is our shit, y'all are not allowed to come over here, why do black people make such an uproar? Oh, this is racist, this is a crime, this is this and that. Bro, why do y'all want to be in these spaces so motherfucking bad? I'm not talking about medical, I'm not talking about jobs and things like that are really important. I'm just talking about like a community, the HOAs, the restaurants, you know, the plays, and whatever it is that white people want to do for white people. Let white people do their own thing. Why do y'all be so mad y'all can't be included? We don't like when they want to be in our shit. Why do y'all want to be in their shit so bad? What is that? What's with that? I don't get that.
Yo, there's a black farmer on here named John Boyd, and he's he was on the Don Lemon show, and he was telling his story. Said that he's been farming for over 42 years in America, and he's reaching out to these institutions for financial help, and he's asking them for a loan, and they are denying him. Now, with all of us on TikTok, all of us, all of us, we're here, right? I say we help him. I'm not good at organizing, but I'm willing to donate. And if he doesn't want to take the money, maybe he could take it as a loan, and he could repay the people that loaned it to him some way. I don't know how it's going to work, guys, but we have to work it out for this black farmer, and we have to help more black farmers. Like, this app can do so much good if we use it the right way. We're all on it. We can gather, we could communicate, we could talk, we could make plans, but we have to help each other. And I think we should all help this black farmer get some funds. We should all put together, donate what we can, or lend what we can to this black farmer.
It's absolutely not lost on me that the same people that are being the most vile right now are the same people that told us to vote blue no matter who. The same people who said that we should put our masks on first. The same people who called Muslim, Arab, and Palestinian Americans disrespectful for protesting against Kamala, in Michigan. Same group of people, same energy, the patterns are the same. Are the same people that got mad at people from the global south who are living through American imperialism. The same black folk were upset that they were being called out for joining the military, or that their family had joined the military. You don't get to sidestep your discomfort for going over there and having a hand in killing them people just because you are oppressed. Part of nuance is sitting in discomfort, right? Also, the same people that have made accusations against those on the left, the moral superiority accusations, them accusations be confessions. Because the same folk that are being absolutely disingenuous about this and saying that people on the left lack nuance, it's y'all that lack nuance. You're unwilling to sit in the discomfort that you feel, because the minute that you feel any sort of discomfort, you want to call it anti-black. That's not how that works.
Let me tell you about a story that actually should be a movie.
Hell yes!
Black farmers sued the U.S. government for decades of racist treatment. They won.
Yay!
And still, most of them never got their land back.
Wait, what?
They never got real justice.
But Newsmax said black people get free land all the time.
Let's talk about it. In the early 1900s, black farmers owned about 14% of all U.S. farmland. By the 1990s, less than 1%.
Believe it or not, you're not going to be as mad about this as you actually should be. Because not only has the percentage of black farmers gone down, but the total amount of farmland in the country has increased. That's not a static number, okay? So not only do we have a smaller percentage of the farmland, but the absolute amount of farmland that we own has gone down from as many as 19 million acres down to like 3 million or so acres, even as the total amount of farmland has gone from about 190 million acres to over 300 million.
Because the USDA, especially at the county level, they made sure of it.
So we may think of the USDA as being a big old federal organization where everything is handled out of Washington, but that's not how it works. Everything is widely distributed through county offices, and how you're treated is very much going to depend on the attitude of whoever is running your county office, and it can get wicked, especially in the South.
They denied black farmers loans, delayed their applications, lost paperwork on purpose. White farmers got money, and black farmers got silence. This wasn't sloppy work. It was targeted, generational, federal.
So you know how
colored people like to say that you should get over racism because slavery was a million years ago, and you know, my ancestors didn't own slaves, and at most it was like maybe 1 or 3 or 5% of people that owned slaves. Like, it's not just slavery, dude, okay? It was yo grandpappy sitting in the FSA office being racist as hell.
In 1997, a black farmer named Timothy Pickford sued the USDA. He said, "Y'all owe us not just in money, but in years of sabotage." And that case became Pickford v. Glickman, named after USDA Secretary Dan Glickman.
I'd smash.
By 1999, the government agreed to settle.
I don't know if people understand just how hard it is to prove systematic discrimination in federal court to the point where a federal agency is willing to settle for billions of dollars. Like, it doesn't just operate on a hunch, right? Like, there has to be paper trails. There has to be emails and faxes and correspondence and like smoking gun evidence that somebody like lost some black farmers' applications on purpose. Like, the burden of proof is so high, it surprises me that they got caught pants on fire being racist to the point where they had to settle.
About 16,000 farmers got $50,000 each. But here's the problem with that. More than 70,000 farmers filed too late or just didn't get the notice in time.
This is me not making a joke about being on CP time. Lord, give me strength.
No money, no land, nothing. And the system is still standing. So in 2010, under Obama, they reopened the case. Pickford, too, was supposed to catch those people that were left out the first go-round. But by then, many had already died, their farms had been taken, their debts had swallowed everything.
Just a quick point of order here, that it's not that like black farmers took on a bunch of debt irresponsibly and their farms closed because they had some kind of toxic, inappropriate relationship with the federal government. All of farming depends on the federal government being willing to either directly make or to guarantee loans to an industry that is considered too risky for the conventional banking system. So for there to be corn, soy, canola, cotton, rice, like all of these staple crops that everybody depends on but are extremely low margin and weather dependent and, you know, have all these risks associated with them. It is literally the job of the federal government since the New Deal, and especially since Cold War agriculture policy, to make sure that these staples are available and that farmers continue to ignore market signals to keep producing them so we have a stable food supply. So this isn't a case of black farmers or really any farmers who get screwed by the federal government deciding to yank stuff. Like, this has started to recently happen to colored people, and they don't like suddenly becoming Trump's. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you listen to the rest of this.
The money came slow, and the amounts, not enough to start over. You can't rebuild a farm with $50,000 in 2025. That barely covers a used tractor.
Just for context and scale, my farm and my business spends $50,000 a month.
So let's talk about who was behind this and where they are now. Dan Glickman, the USDA secretary when this whole thing started, he's retired now. He was never held accountable, though.
Of course not.
Tom Vilsack,
I beat it up.
Obama Secretary of Agriculture during Pickford 2. Biden reappointed him. He ran the USDA again from 2021.
If I see another farmer on TV crying and whining about their situation, I'm going to go insane. Let's get into it. So I'm kind of piggybacking off a video I saw yesterday, the day before, from Middle Aged Rider. Go follow him if you're not doing it already. He's got good content. But I am just so sick of seeing farmers crying and whining because they can't sell their soybeans or whatever crop they've got. I'm going to remind you what these same fucking farmers were saying back in 2019 when the same bullshit was happening, and they still showed up to vote for this fucking maniac who tried to overturn an election, who got convicted of felonies, found liable for sexual assault. They had no problem showing right back up for this motherfucker, and I'm going to show you why. So back in 2019 and 2020, you can see here that farmers were giving billions and billions and billions of dollars of straight cash payments, checks written of $100,000 or more sent straight to them. Look, $28 billion in 2 years, all because of his trade war. You can see here, farm subsidies jumped to their most in 14 years back in 2019. This farmer here who was interviewed could not sell his soybeans to China because of Trump's tariffs back in 2019. And then he said, Trump money is what we call it. It helped a lot, and my understanding is they're going to do it again. So yes, boy, they loved that government money coming to them, didn't they? Shows right here. Thousands of farmers got more than $100,000 each. Roughly twice as much as the actual harm. I mean, they was just throwing them money. And now they want to come back 5 years later, whining and crying and bitching and moaning. I'm so sick of it. I'm going to show you a farmer from North Dakota right now who did a damn interview, and she tells you just exactly how fucking selfish they all are.
Jager says that ever since the August 1st tariffs took place, she's been worried about her income, loans, and bills. She says that she's never had to worry before about her crops not having a market. China, which usually buys the largest amount of soybeans from U.S. farmers, has stopped because of tariffs.
Out against everything, knowing that agriculture in America needs an international market, it's just really unfair. You know, how about you look at the items that you really could tariff that won't affect so many people?
I mean, are you fucking kidding me? Tariffs for all of us. She don't mind that. Tariff everybody else, but don't tariff us. I mean, completely selfish assholes. Everybody saw what was coming. If you are a fucking Trump voter, I'm out of empathy for you, okay? You deserve to live with the fucking consequences of the decision that you made, just like everybody else has to live with the fucking decision that you made.
Now, guys, welcome back. Now, the current political climate has caused fear of deportation, raids, and strict immigration crackdowns, whereby workers are just disappearing to avoid being arrested by the ICE. And this has resulted to empty fields, harvest delay, and crops rotting on the farm. What is the irony of this story? Many farmers, voted for the politicians that are now enforcing these immigrant crackdowns. They never expected these policies to come hit their own farms. Now they realize that they cannot survive without the workers that they'd pushed out after voting in Trump. Now the white farmers have become so desperate, now they are calling for the Americans to step up. When I say Americans, I mean the black Americans. The same black communities that they once refused to hire, or if hired, they underpaid them. Now that they have got no one to work their farms, they now want the black people to save their farms because their businesses are now like collapsing. The crops are rotting on the farm and they can't help it without the workers. Now they have seen that they cannot find a replacement for the workers because black Americans whom they thought will help have refused because they're busy. Okay? And they cannot come work those farms that their ancestors worked with no wages. Now, who will help them? Who will help these Texas farmers? Because black Americans have said, no, we cannot help. We are very much sorry. We cannot help. Why have black Americans refused to help the white farmers in Texas? Because of the poor wages, hostile work environments or conditions, unsafe conditions, and lack of respect. They don't respect their workers. That's why the black Americans have said, no, we cannot save you because slavery ended. One thing I ask is that now they need black Americans. Why now? Why now? This is what I want to say. Now they need these black Americans so desperately. In fact, they are begging them to come help them because their crops are drying on the farm. No one to harvest their crops. But they don't respect these people. How can you help someone who never helps you? You cannot help someone who never helped you. Someone who mistreated your ancestors. Someone who never showed respect to you. Now, this has made many black Americans to be afraid of helping them. Because you cannot help someone who does not respect you. You can't help someone who does not show love and just want to mistreat you or use you, then dump you. For black Americans to come help, they must raise the wages. They must improve their working conditions, build respectful relationship with the black communities, and stop relying on exploitations and desperations. Now, this is what I say. This situation is just karma itself, because you only reap what you sow. Farmers ignored fair hiring practices, and now they are stuck and they need help. And Black Americans are just watching them, and they cannot come help them because they refuse to listen to the Black Americans. This entire situation is a lesson to many of them, because you cannot mistreat people for decades, then expect help to come from the same people. You cannot ignore the entire community, and you cannot support policies that push workers away. Remember, you're the one who voted in Donald J. Trump. Therefore, you must take it. Texas farmers are now learning the hard way that you only reap what you sow. And trust me that Black Americans are just watching, very busy doing their own things, because this is not their fight. So they cannot come and rescue you from this. You have to take it, because no one is here to help you. So thank you guys for watching this video, and of course if you found this video so informative, please subscribe and leave us a comment in the comment section, guys, and let us meet again in my next video show.